Thank you, Flemming, for this presentation of your point of view here, and thank you for hosting us. In fact, it's the UK Embassy we need to thank because they arranged this meeting and has the responsibility for everything and the practical things here. And also on behalf of Jeanne Lander from the Committee of Health Information at Aarhus University, I would like to thank you, our UK speakers, to come all the way from London. Even though it's easy to go from London to England to Denmark, we would like very much that you give priority to this meeting. And thank you for all of you being interested and attending today. I'll just start up with a presentation. Maybe I should move over here. Is it better on the other side? Okay? That's fine. This question here, why focus on mental capital of young people? Can a Danish-UK cooperation contribute? This is not really a question, it's a rhetoric question, because we know it can. We have already very nice experience with working, at least with two of you already, and we know the answer is yes. The question is, can we to some extent make this a larger collaboration? And the main idea is kind of having your large experience with this field and match this with the possibilities, with the unique possibilities we have in Denmark. I will start out with in England, and maybe Mike, do you know who this is? It's King Edward VII should be. And the reason why I start the story here is this is from the first area of modern medicine, where what we call the version 1 of perspective of health was the main thing, just to survive. And the reason I have this picture, was marked a milestone in modern medicine, because the appendicitis of the king here was a big problem. He was going to be crowned the 26th, I think, of June in 1902, but had to be postponed because he got stomachache on the right side here, and it turned out to be a severe stomachache because he had appendicitis. And you know, the collaboration before this, the understanding of bacterials, antiseptics, kind of was the basic of what happened here, because he actually managed to survive. He had the luck that the whole thing went out to the front and it was emptied out, and they could kind of cure him. And what's interesting about his health history is that from the royal castle, the announcement was, he's so healthy, he now sits up in bed and smokes his cigar. Very healthy, isn't it? But the other thing was that because they have to postpone the crowning, there was a lot of food left for the poor people. So this was kind of a very interesting health event from a social perspective also. But of course, this person, Flemming, who discovered the penicillium in 1928, is also an example of the big impact that UK people had on modern health. But today the challenges has changed from 1902 to now. First of all, people tend to live longer, and we have more elderly, and within the next 2 decades we'll have a lot of more elderly people and fewer younger people to kind of keep the society going. And we still have a lot of much more economy burden based on this. We have more advanced treatments, and we have more demands of high-level treatments. And the problem here is, apparently, at least in Denmark, we see signs of a more vulnerable youth. Say they are less resilient, they kind of report more psychological symptoms, and then we have more diagnoses. So the question is, how do we solve this? Because we need these young people to be strong and innovative to kind of take over the responsibility for the future society, especially because we have a lot of other people who might not contribute in a few years. So the companies, including the whole society, needs resilient and innovative children and youth. That's the whole thing. So I just want to say there's some similarities here, and maybe this is what we would like to have inspiration for. If you have the 3 perspectives of health, we have a version 1.0, you could say, which was the first one we saw, just to get people to survive. Until the mid-1950s, so to say. Then there was a change over the last part of last century, going more into details of how could get people to survive in a healthy way. So non-communicable diseases got more into focus, and we thought about, well, we should give priority to lifestyle problems. And apparently we will all probably, if we live long enough, get diabetes or prostate cancer, at least half of us. So that's really something that we focused on until recently. But the version 3.0 perspective apparently has to focus more on the mental level, especially because the mental aspect turned out to be very important, even in obesity and metabolic disorders, and also in the cause of all somatic disorders. And also, we have pointed out a heart here, the development in technology kind of suggests that we have to move out the focus on disorders or diseases to the human being, the full human being, because the full human being will now be able to kind of choose from their own platform. And this moves us more in a direction of a patient or citizen-centered approach to all kind of health. Oh, there's a problem here, I can see that. But if you look at the immune system, the metabolic system, and the mental system, there are some similarities. And resistance is what we like actually to have if we have a virus, a bacteria, so we can get to work quite fast, or even we don't die from this problem. And the strategy from a biological point of view is kind of exposing to a certain point for the virus and the bacteria. And this is well known from immunology. The question is if we can use the same approach to metabolic disorders and to mental disorders. I won't use too much time on the metabolic disorders, but there is some signs that if you kind of expose your child to a variety of foods, you might enhance the chance of not this child getting to eat more in a way that actually get a lower chance of obesity and metabolic disorders. But this is focused on the mental resistance, which we call, it's not exactly the same, but it is resilience that we normally call that. So the question is there a mental child health vaccination? And how can we form this? And how do we get there? Can we get to a point where we enhance the chance that everyone who grows up in the Danish society actually have the largest chance of getting to the right potential, using that potential best? And this is one of the questions we think we don't know really how to do this. And when we look at these children who suffer from mental problems, I mean, there's a lot of discussion on why is this, but the most important thing is, could we to some extent make them stronger before we leave them out in the wild society? So to say, how do we enhance the chance that they are exposed to things in a way that it's perfect, on a delicate or just perfect, so they have the chance to survive in a very fast-changing society. And I checked this up here. It's actually taken from this report that you might come back to, David. You're here, you've been part of the work on this. And this is a figure that inspired us a lot, because I think it's the first time we saw a combination of the biological level, the social level, and the cultural level, and even the psychological level put together in one figure, kind of to show that, I mean, there are all levels going on all the time. And going back to this comparison with immune system, if you think about the Danish vaccination program, it's actually to prevent that the parents has to take off from work. It's not a health argument, actually. I don't know if Flemming gives me agree in this, but it's more that you want to keep people on work. But if you have the best comparison of what we're standing in front of now as a challenge, is that it's much more comparable with influenza, where we actually have an influenza who mutate all the way from the east until here, and we try to find the right vaccine. And this kind of vaccine is what we have to be aware of for our children, to kind of expose them to as much as the real world as possible during their growing up. And I think that's really a crucial thing. What is special of Denmark is that we have this part down here. You will have now social platforms, you will have private-driven health solutions, all providing a lot of data, and the big data issue is a big one also in the political debate in Denmark. But what is special about Denmark is we have this system here who's actually linked very much with a personal ID number. And I think this is, for Scandinavian, a unique thing. So the question is, all the things we can link here with this up here, how can we get to the point where these people in here, the people we're talking about, the people we want to make new solutions for, get the best out of that?